Sorry, YouTube. My camera cut out on me before, so apparently this is going to be a two-parter. So before I gave you guys the rundown of the individual cards that are getting hit on this ban list, and I feel that while some of them are necessary, and maybe it's kind of what Yu-Gi-Oh needs right now, it's just a lot to take in at once. So the list was trying to hit those sort of like win button cards where you draw the one, you win. They're hitting those staple cards. They're hitting the FTK cards, as well as the sort of like the top tier cards. So there's really a lot to take in for this list. And sort of the stipulation that comes with this list is, instead of our traditional one ban list every 6 months, so 2 a year pretty much, it's going to be up to one ban list every 3 months, so 4 a year. So this list goes from September 1st to December 31st. That's what this format is going to be. It's just those 3 months. So pretty much we're going to be getting pretty much one ban list every like core set release. So where it's going to be like, we had Judgment of Light, ban list, Shadow Specters, ban list, next set after that, ban list, that kind of thing. And what actually concerns me more than any single individual card, or even the sort of the sum of it, the total grossing amount of cards that just got hit, is sort of this focus on the ban list. Now, first off, this ban list that we just got completely goes against everything that, up until this point, Konami was trying to do and said that they were going to do. Back when they took the Yu-Gi-Oh rights from Upper Deck in the TCG, because before it was Konami was in charge of the OCG, Upper Deck was in charge of the TCG, there was some legal actions going on, and Konami decided to take the TCG away from Upper Deck, and now Yu-Gi-Oh is what it is now. And one of the things that Konami said when they did this was that they would try to unite the OCG and the TCG sort of under one umbrella. So this meant trying to catch up the TCG to the OCG by releasing a lot of cards that we didn't have yet. And then simultaneously, whenever we got a TCG exclusive in the sets, the OCG would then get sort of all the TCG exclusives in like their like premium pack kind of thing. So now with this list, that policy has gone out the window, in that now there is pretty much two separate games going on at one time. Same cards, same rules, but different games. And on one hand, I'm kind of okay with this, because what a lot of people did with stuff is that they would just go onto Shriek or YouTube, look at what is doing well in Japan, and then take those decks and then just play them in America. And so, because we were a set behind, our sort of future of what the game would be was already decided a few months before, when Japan got their release of the set. So whatever was doing well over there at that point was what we were going to get. Now we have two different games with two different ban lists. So well, Japan has Trishula back at 1, and Big Eye limited to 1, and then like Abyss Tias instead of Dragoons and stuff like that at 1, and Super Rejuve at 1, but we have it banned, and just a lot of those changes. Our meta is going to be a lot different than what they have. So this is going to cause a lot of problems for like the international play, like Worlds. That's pretty much the reason why they wanted to unite ban lists, was because of and like unite the game because of Worlds, when they had the Japan players play with the American players, play with the Latin American players, the European players. They wanted to try to unite the game, and now I feel that they're going away from this because, while Japan, of course, they got everything first because that's where the game is located. We were a few months behind, and it took us a little while to catch up. So we got a lot of the promos that they didn't get, or that we got a lot of promos that they had for a while. A lot of we got the sets like a few months later than they did, but we still got them. We finally caught up with the dual terminal hidden arsenal. Europe had its own problems where they don't have some of the like Shonen Jump cards and stuff that we have. So I feel that this sort of like game unity has completely gone out the window, and I don't know how I feel about that. I also feel that I'm trying to wrap my head around this too. This is a lot to take in for me as a Yu-Gi-Oh player right now. Since we're pretty much getting 4 ban lists a year, 1 ban list every 3 months, a lot of people have said that they're going to now use the ban list to sort of hit the problem cards in a format sooner, so that way that maybe we can have a better game and blah 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 card or whatever, because everyone has different opinions on what is a problem card. And I want to say that those people, I'm going to pull my Stephen A. Smith right now, are asinine. Asinine, Asa 10, Asa 11, Asa 12. This is going to cause more problems for the game than what it fixes. And that's because I feel that every 3 months they are now going to use this ban list to sort of control what the players are going to play. Right now we just got this huge, I almost want to call it a reset button on the game because of the amount of really good cards that just got thrown onto this list. And so what's the next list going to be like in 3 months? We're going to have this 3-month format that's completely wide open. So like, there's a lot of good decks right now, and I'll get to that when I'm done with this little spiel of mine. But what they obviously did was that they hit the top decks, they hit some of the staple and like auto-win buttons, and then the next set is going to be like a dark zombie set, so that's like your vampires, your ghost tricks, and they're obviously going to be pushing sort of like the new stuff to come out, even more than what they already do. So I feel that they're going to be using these lists to sort of start cycling in and out decks and certain cards. And they said before that they're going to try to bring back about every card that has been banned, to try to bring it back at some point. So now this feels like that, we're going to have 3 months of like Chaos Emperor Dragon, we're going to have 3 months of, Cyberstein, we're going to have 3 months of like Makiura, we're going to have 3 months of, I'm just going down the list here, Sinister Serpent, Tribe, Fiber Jar, Scientist, stuff like that, where they're going to use this 3-month list to sort of say, oh, we'll bring back this one card for this 3 months and then just ban it. They're going to keep cycling stuff out, and thereby dictating what the players are going to play. So I'm extremely hesitant on what this is going to do for the game, because in my long experience with games, not just Yu-Gi-Oh, but like Magic, Naruto, Pokemon, Vanguard, I played a lot of things in my years. All right, I'm a seasoned vet, let me tell you. And I can say that banning cards just like that as a cycle is not healthy for the game. Magic they they have a banned restricted list, but they also have like this list of formats that they run and support. So they have a ban list for formats. They have set cycles, but that's just sort of things to keep things. That's their way of keeping things fresh. What happened when I was playing Naruto, right, is in order to sort of keep the game fresh, not only did they do this rather extensive ban restricted list every, few months or so, but they also did set rotations, and this, combined with sort of like the declining popularity of the Naruto franchise itself, completely ruined the game. So now Naruto is like defunct. It was this up and coming TCG for a while, defunct because they ran that game into the ground. And I feel that I'm getting the initial feelings that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still like the most popular TCG, but I have a feeling that if they're going to be sort of using this ban list as like a rotation kind of thing to sort of cycle things out and to keep things fresh, it's going to get really tiresome for a lot of players really quick. Because I'm one of those guys that I want to pick up a deck that, I want to run for not just 3 months, not just 6 months, but maybe for, a year or something like that. I'm going to invest my money into these cards, and I want to use these cards for however long I feel, as long as I'm having fun with that deck. And admittedly, Yu-Gi-Oh! Got to be a lot of combo-oriented, OTK-oriented cards, especially with Xyz. So maybe, again, it's this kick in the ass that right now I feel the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become more uncertain than what it's ever been. And there's been a lot of naysayers in the past. So that's just sort of my thoughts on the list, the changes, the sort of like, the gameplay changes, this 4 lists a year kind of thing. Yeah. So what decks are going to be good? I will say off the bat that Dragon Rulers as a deck are still not are pretty much dead as a singular deck, but the Dragon Rulers themselves are still very good in other decks, so they're still going to be a thing there. Prophecies, even though they lost Judgment, they're still very playable. They just kind of take a step back to what they were as sort of this like really. They were a good deck. They were a hype deck, but back then they were stoppable. What Prophecy actually, I think, gained a little bit more than what they lost. They lost their best card in Public Judgment, but what they gained was that sort of all of the outs for the deck, and that was your Shockmaster banned, your Thunder King at 1, and your Eradicator at 1. Those were 3 of the big cards that completely crippled the deck. So, Prophecy right now are actually, I feel, in a really good position to still do well this game. I also still feel that Mermails are going to do very well because the Diva hit really did nothing for them, and the Dragoons hit they can get around because they just have a lot of options that they can run. In Japan, Tias and Sphere both went to 1, which really ruined that deck for them, but they're going to be a lot more prevalent, I feel now, especially in America, because of some of those other decks getting hit, and they're still, for the most part, a really strong deck right now. Yeah, Constellars really didn't get touched. The M7 to 1 didn't do anything. Evil Swarms, the only way that they got hit was the Rabbit to 1, and that's not as important, so they were regarded really as this, like, really disappointing deck, so they're rather inexpensive. I see them a lot at my locals, and they do very well there, but against Prophecies and Dragon Ruler, sort of like the top decks, they completely failed at sort of like the National Worlds level. So they're not going to be... I feel that they are now going to be more of an attractive option because of the top decks getting hit. They hardly got touched except for the rabbit, and they'll be a thing now. A lot of those like Beast Warrior oriented decks, so as I say, Constellar, Fire Fist, not 3 axis though. 3 axis just kind of just died because 1 Spirit and 1 Rooster in the OCG, they can't really function as a deck as much. But I think 4 axis Fire Fist, so like so like bears, gorillas, stuff like that, they're still gonna be a thing. Bujins, when they get all of their power cards that they need, they're gonna be a thing, I feel. Unless they get hit in 3 months. Yeah. Madolches have been one of those sleeper decks. TG agents are absolutely a thing now because we have 3 Earths and 2 Strikers. They're absolutely a thing. Oh, what else? You might see a comeback of zombies because Mizuki at 2, Plague Spreader at 2. New zombie support coming out. That might be a thing. The list goes on and on because, like, with the hitting of some of these staple cards, especially Heavy Storm, this format's gonna be a little bit slowed down. Sort of more of like your like summon, set, 3, 4, 5 back row without any fear of Heavy Storm and go, and it's gonna be a huge difference, I feel, than last format. So like some sleeper decks, I feel like Harpies might be a thing because of this like set 5 format. Maybe we'll see Gravekeepers come back, or some of those older, slower decks that for a while were really prevalent, like your TGs and stuff like that. They might come back because of the more emphasis now on mass back row. I don't feel that some of the stun decks are going to do very well because of the Thunder King hit. But again, with, set 5 format, anything can happen. It's going to be a lot on the back row. And even with some of the, like, staple traps getting hit, like your Solemn Band, Deep Prison at 2, your Bottomless at 1, your Compulse at 1, there's so many good trap cards that can be run, can be teched in, sided. There's a lot you can do. So, yeah. So, that's the ban list, YouTube. I don't know how I feel about this whatsoever. But let me know what you guys think. If you think that, what is good about this ban list, what's bad about it. I gave you guys my 2-video spiel of this, so I want to hear what you guys think. I'm sort of okay with this sort of like reset button of the game because it honestly kind of deserves it. I'm just extremely concerned about how they're going to go about doing this 4 ban lists a year. So, let me know, YouTube. Peace.